Right, this is just for your consent. I have started recording of this particular session, right? So, first of all, I would like to know, do you have any questions so far? If you would like to know anything, then I would love to answer. Yes, guys.
Yesterday we had a session, but yesterday it was not happened, right? So tomorrow we'll be having that feasibility or like.
No, we will have the session on Monday to Friday only. That's why I said 4 days a week. So let me tell you, dear. So classes are usually from Monday to Thursday. If there is a gap in between, so we take class on Friday. Or maybe like if there is no emergency, I'm free. So definitely from Monday to Friday, all 5 days we can have batch. Okay, so guys, let me tell you this thing that today we are going to discuss about very important thing, which is known as roles and responsibility of an engineer, right? So guys, first of all, let me ask you guys, what are the particular profiles which are based on cloud, network, Linux, and all? Can you please help me with that? What are the different profiles you know about, and what is the particular profile you are looking for? Yes, guys.
DevOps engineer, SRE.
AWS admin, cloud computing admin, solution architect.
Okay.
Azure database support guy.
Okay, great. Okay, let us not divide into AWS and Azure. So let us divide in common. First of all, Linux admin. So guys, if you are going to appear for a particular role of Linux administrator, then what are going to be the role and responsibility of Linux administrator? Yes, guys. Can you please help me with this?
Server build.
Okay, great. Server build. Wait.
This is the most starting part.
Okay, wait, just a moment. Then what will VMware administrator do?
Cloud, virtual server management.
Okay. If it is virtual server like administration you are talking about, then what will DC admin do? Like data center admin?
Data center admin will do in data center like racking, stacking, cabling.
Okay.
And server management like firmware upgrades and all. Apart from this, any break and fix, drive replacement, or like any server related work which requires like hands-on presence in data center. So that all will data center admin will do.
Okay, so let me bring some more light onto it. First of all, when we are talking about like VMware administration, Linux administration, so this is the first profile which people must be targeting who are attending this particular session. So this particular role and responsibility, the particular profile will bring couple of things into your plate in order to perform. First of all, like server management. Now this is a blanket statement like server management. If we have to break these things into small pieces, so based on L1, L2, L3, like different level of support. First of all, if it is L1 profile, then obviously user management, right? Then after, file permissions, right? Then after, what next?
Risk management.
Then after
LDAP, that comes under user management itself.
package management. Then after server performance monitoring and setup, like setup and monitoring. Then after what else?
Linux networking.
Then after
Linux networking.
okay, let us write that thing as well. Yes, you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
Networking. Let's not write about Linux networking because right now we are talking about roles and responsibility Linux admin only. So that will be like good enough to write networking part. Okay. What else?
Troubleshooting.
Troubleshooting is a blanket thing.
Infrastructure management using Puppet, maybe.
Okay, so basically that will not be Linux administrator, that will be an automation engineer. Okay, what else? So guys, right now we are just discussing on Linux administrator. There are going to be a lot of activities which are supposed to be performed by a particular person who is working in an organization. But right now we are talking like if you are hired as a Linux administrator, only then what will be expectation from your side, right? Okay, so after this, task automation, the scheduling. Then after, what else?
SE Linux security.
Log rotation plus backup. This is also a particular task performed by your DevOps, your Linux administrator. Then after, if you are working as a senior person, like then performance tuning or OS optimization or
Performance, yeah.
Performance tuning. Then after, security patching or OS upgrading and
server hardening.
great. So basically security patching and server hardening can be combined together. So whenever we are doing security patching, it means we are performing the activities of security hardening, server hardening, right? What else? What else do we do, guys?
Compliance, server compliance.
So compliance will come under security only, or maybe server hardening.
Online. Online. तेरा काम.
Guys, please mute yourself if not speaking. Okay, thank you. So major files backup, right? So let us say we are going to modify any file on the server, then we need to ensure that the particular files are being backed up. These are the particular tasks of Linux administrator. Any other task which you feel, guys, that yes, we perform this thing as well being Linux administrator? So guys, for sure you guys can say here that right now we are managing this, we are managing that, right? But end of the day, like if you talk about server management, so like this is a blanket statement, we can cover like any and everything here. User administration, so be it is on LDAP, be it is on NIS, be it is on AD, wherever you have created users, those users can be managed from like will be covered under this. File management or file permission, like you may want here like ch on, ch mode or ACL. Sticky bit, SUID, SGID, or maybe chatter. So these sort of commands you may want to include as part of your file permission activities, like ch on command, ch mode, ACL, like set official command will be used there, sticky bit, SUID, SGID, chatter. When you are talking about disk management, so you may want to use some different sort of commands here like fdisk. So guys, I'm not explaining what these commands are doing right now, but just I'm defining a couple of commands that these sort of commands you must be knowing, or not only these, like there are other commands as well, but these are the very basic commands which we are going to run in order to define, in order to check the permissions, right? So I hope you are getting my point. Like fdisk, df, du.
LSB.
What else command do we use, guys, here?
LSBLK.
lsblk and blk id, mount, umount, and what else? Dmessage, like to in order to check like any sort of disk level activities based on kernel level, so we can check, we can run this particular command. Maybe parted, and obviously like mkfs, then after the file extension and all these sort of command you shall be using. If we talk about package management, then what we are going to use either in GUI mode if you are running with any desktop version, then after you need to use rpm or
Yum.
yum or apt or dnf. So these sort of commands we are going to use in order to perform package management. So guys, I'm not explaining the particular like how do we manage package, what is package, nothing. I'm just giving you like overview of these particular management activities, like what sort of activities do we have to perform if we are working as a Linux administrator. Aside to this, like what are the major command do we need to remember in order to say that yes, we are working as a Linux administrator, right guys? I'm not deep diving into it, but just for your like comfort level that these sort of commands you should be knowing in order to become, or in order to say that yes, you are working as like a Linux package management engineer, right guys? Okay. When we are talking about like server performance setup and monitoring, so like how do you set up? Obviously, like you need to have some monitoring engine like Nagios, right? Then after when we talk about like setup, Nagios is there monitoring, you can use top command, vmstat command, netistat command,
iostat,
iostat command, and
htop.
htop is basically additional utility for top command only. Then after maybe w command you can use, right? What else?
SAR.
Okay, great. SAR and
LSO.
LSOF and come on, keep on going.
MTTR.
MTTR, and what does it do? That is MTR, that is for network monitoring. We will talk about network as well, but we will bring this command into that particular session. Okay, what else, guys? After LSOF, df-ik in order to check whether your inode disk, inode table is full or not. That is also covered in the server performance. Then after
Checking log will come under server performance or under logs.
guys, how can we forget about free command?
Oh,
See, like top command will tell you CPU, like everything. Free command will tell you about memory. Then after df command will tell you disk. Right, so individual commands we should be knowing that what sort of activities are taking place on this particular server. What else, guys? Okay, what are the like? Let us say we monitor 4 major components. Disk. So we have df command. We check memory. We have free command. We check load. We have this one. And if we have to check about like your network, then what command do we use?
ifconfig.
Okay.
IPA, IPADDR. There are many. ETS
So
tool, yeah.
rather than writing if config or ifcfg command, so like that sort of like command, so we need to define here like ETS tool. If we need to, for example, you need to identify that what is the particular data transfer speed of our LAN card, how much it is being consumed, how much overall data we have transferred. Let us say we need to modify a couple of parameters over here, right? So we need to use ETS tool command there. Obviously, I would not deny with like if config, but if config command will be used under your networking command. Like first of all, we will use if config, right? Then after, in order to figure out like what all IP addresses are there, then after under networking, we are going to use ping command, telnet,
Netstat.
great, then nmap and
Dig.
traceroute or tracer,
MDTR.
TRACEPATH, tracepath, MTR, and
NS lookup, route,
Dig. Route.
okay, what else?
for packet capture, TCP dump. This
TCP dump, right?
SS socket,
SS, like session
Secure.
sockets. What else?
wget or curl if you want to install anything.
So guys, don't you feel that SS command should be part of this particular like performance monitoring? We can define in both places because basically this is a utility which can be defined either in the performance monitoring or in the networking. Okay, then after what? You are doing really great, guys. Come on, keep on going. Okay, then after, okay, let's talk about task automation, task scheduling. So what you need to define your shell script. Basic shell script, let us say you are going to check if file size is more than 100 MB. Let's rotate it. That sort of. Scheduling, maybe add command or maybe cron tab. Right? Log rotation and backup. What command we are going to use here, guys?
Trunket.
So when we are talking about backup, zip, vzip, star, star. What else, guys? Guys, if not speaking, please keep yourself like please. Otherwise, I will have to use my veto power to mute you guys. Okay, fine. So when we are talking about like how do we take backup and all, so guys, in order to log rotate, there is a service known as log rotate D. Right? Whenever we are talking about like centralized logging, then what we are going to use here? rsyslog. And guys, just for information, port number of rsyslog is 514. This is port number basically. The service rsyslog runs on port number 514, especially on UDP. Right? Okay, OS optimization. What is this, guys? Guys, what are the particular commands being used for OS optimization? Let's not go into that deep dive. So guys, are we clear so far? Like if we are working as a Linux administrator, so like what are the particular commands do we need to use? Do we need to know in order to prove that yes, we are working on this? Like what sort of scenarios are there? Are we clear with this, guys? Yes, guys.
Yes,
Mr.
sir,
Noor.
we are getting that.
Noor, are we clear with this? Amit?
Yeah.
Anil?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Sounds good. So this is about Linux administrator. So guys, today what we are going to discuss here is like there are different jobs, there are different roles and responsibility. Moreover, after discussing the roles and responsibility of the particular, like if you have to explain, okay, can you tell me your roles and responsibility? Right. So what you are going to say here in case of Linux administrator. So like my day begin with the particular emails which I get from different sources, like it could be from an individual user. It could be from the source of like one monitoring engine, like any sort of automation script which we have placed on servers in order to identify if there is an issue going on. It could be related to disk, memory, or maybe any other activities, right? We have set up multiple backup scripts. So if any script fails, then definitely we get an email. So my activity starts, like my day begins with reading my email box. Based on the particular alert and the criticality of the particular issues, I start analyzing and finalizing that what are the particular major tasks where we have to perform first. I start my day with, like first of all, like disk management, then after OS performance monitoring sort of stuff, these sort of activities I do. Then after, if let us say if there is any task getting failed, so I will go to that server, then after I will check cron tab, the logs of cron tab, right? Then after I will check my shell script, like if there is any file which is maybe not non-readable or that sort of, so I will start troubleshooting with that. I will ensure that whether all the backups on the server are getting rotated properly. If logs are getting rotated, I need to ensure that the particular backup is being sent to individual server. Now there will be a discussion started. Okay, can you tell me like if there are multiple users on the server, how will you check it? Then definitely, guys. Now there is a particular time when you will talk about /etc/passwd file shadow g shadow group, right? Now there will be discussion around like what are the fields of etc password, what are the fields of etc shadow, why do we use etc group, what are the details kept in g shadow. Then after, a user may ask like, okay, what are the main configuration files which keep user details, so where from these details come, that sort of. So basically, first of all, you will have to tell that yes, you are involved in this sort of activities. Moreover, person may want to know like, okay, like what is other command rather than user add which you can use to add user. You can tell about add user, right? User mode, right, guys? So we will be discussing about these commands in detail, like what are the particular parameters, what all files are here. But for now, when you are explaining these sort of things as part of your roles and responsibility, guys, so we need to be ready in order to handle couple of cross questions as well. It will not happen ever that you have told about your roles and responsibility and the person would not ask any cross question on the top of it. For example, you are going to talk about performance tuning. Okay, can you tell me like how do you analyze that performance is good or not? What are the basic parameters based on which you decide that that operating system is optimized or not, right, guys? So these sort of things basically we should be knowing. Are we clear with that, guys?
Yes.
Any questions so far? And guys, if there is a question, I would definitely love to take it. Shall I consider the silence as no?
Can we also add some of the OS optimization and performance tuning related commands, or like to go through later in part of time?
So right now I'm just telling you about roles and responsibilities. So like commands related to user management and other like task automation, log rotation, OS per optimization. We will be discussing about these commands within coming sessions. But right now, what I'm trying to tell you here is that if you are working as a like Linux administrator, then how you are going to answer the particular question about your roles and responsibility, right? So basically, Linux administrators are responsible for these things only. Even if you say that you are not involved in provisioning servers, so servers are provisioned basically either by VMware team or maybe by data center team. If it is working on like your on-prem data center. Now let us say if you are working as a cloud admin, right, cloud administrator, then what would happen? Guys, let us do one thing. I'm just going to like ping all the, okay, let me create a new one on. Otherwise that will be a confusion sort of. Yes, guys. So when you are going to talk about that, you are working as a cloud with Linux. So guys, Linux rules and responsibilities are already clear here, right? All the roles and responsibility which are related to like AWS administrator or maybe your like Linux engineer, these are already defined here. Now, based on cloud, what will you do, guys? What are the roles and responsibility of a cloud administrator? Provision infra. What sort of infra? Maybe EC2, ELB, auto scaling, right? This sort of, then S3, creating new user, right, guys? What else?
Implementing new services.
Creating and managing VPC,
Glacier.
enabling connectivity. Wait. So when we are talking about Glacier, so right now, like S3 Glacier used to be different service, but right now what is happening? So guys, someone has written like that particular IAM. So I have written in that way, like creating new users. So right now we are not talking about like individual service name, or if you want, I will define. So guys, Glacier is also part of this particular service itself. S3 and S3 Glacier are part of one component only now. If you want to give it a name, you can define IAM. Right? Then after creating and managing VPC, enabling connectivity between VPCs or AWS to DC data center, right? What else we do? Like obviously
Access policy. User access policy.
so user access policy will be covered under IAM only.
So EBS and EFS.
So that will be covered under over here like EC2. Okay.
Cost optimization.
Yes, that is definitely considered. Cost optimization, route 53 management, SSL certificates. So for this, we will be using AWS ACM, Amazon Certificate Manager. What else, guys, we are going to use here?
Monitoring.
CloudWatch.
Security group and ACL.
So, dear, that will be like security group will be covered under ACL, and your NACL, like network ACL, will be covered under VPC. So these are just components. If you want, you can highlight that yes, you are aware of this as well, NACL, but yes, that will be covered under VPC itself. Like CloudWatch is right. Then after a CloudTrail, then after config, then after
Maintaining system security.
trusted advisor, guard duty, inspector,
CloudFront.
CloudFront.
WAF.
Yes, WAF. Okay, if you talk about WAF here, then you will have to add one more component by default, your shield. And guys, keep this thing in mind. If you are using really WAF and shield, this is really costly service. Approx $3,000 per month you will have to give. If you really have enabled it anywhere, only then explain it. Otherwise, you can skip that. We are not using it. We are using some third-party solutioning for it. Because guys, whatever you say, the person will definitely have right to ask you questions on the top of it, right? So you can add these sort of tools here. Like I'm responsible for creating EC2. And when you are talking about EC2, guys, obviously you can add here like optimizing. optimizing your EBS, like EFS, automated backup. Right, guys? Automated backup. How will you take automated backup here, guys? So you can use here. What is there is a particular service known as
Snapshots.
no. The service is known as Life Cycle Manager. That is a service provided by AWS in order to take your backup in automated manner for EC2 and EBS volumes. Right? So these sort of things you guys are going to tell during your interview. Now there will be a question. Okay, let us say that okay, I'm working as a cloud administrator, and my roles and responsibility are, first of all, we are going to define this along with like not only taking care of cloud, but definitely all the infra whatever we provision. Let us say we have provisioned one EC2 machine, so like creating user on the top of it, ensuring like disk management, like managing packages, ensuring that all the basic server performance command are installed onto that server, ensuring that server is reachable from all other servers, and other servers are able to connect to this particular. So for this we use security group, we use network ACL in order to ensure, we use VPC peering in order, let us say if there are two different VPCs and we need to ensure that connectivity is enabled there, so we need to use VPC peering connection that way. Right, guys? Any questions so far? Guys, any questions so far? And guys, let me tell you, like this is not the end of it. There may be some more additional services which a person has to work on daily basis, because we are just giving a basic understanding that yes, these are sort of services which we use on like a routine basis. That is why I have mentioned only these names. Otherwise, like the list is really long. I guess whenever we will like prepare a resume, so we shall be able to add these sort of tools there, right? Whenever we are writing a resume, so we shall be able to identify and we shall be able to modify the particular these tools and these particular topics there, right?
Your job, right job for your. With the silent gold loan. Gold loan, exactly.
Gautam, please mute yourself because I guess you are talking to some other one as well and your mic is getting unmuted again and again. Please, it's a request, buddy. Okay. So guys, right now what we are talking about, so we have discussed about Linux administrator, which is the major profile, cloud admin. Then after finally, we are going to talk about DevOps, because that is the particular profile which we are here for, right guys? Now, the hierarchy would look like, if you are able to work as Linux administrator, you are working as automation engineer plus cloud admin, that will be equal to DevOps. Like Linux administrator, automation engineer, cloud admin, and now once you know all these things, plus DevOps skills or DevOps tools, you can call that. So the particular DevOps tools, if you want to like go back and you would like to have a look on it. So yes, guys, these are the particular tools which we were talking about earlier. If you know that how to manage on these tools, then definitely guys, you will become a DevOps engineer. Are we clear with that? Now guys, what else I would like to tell you here is, so what are your roles and responsibility being a Git administrator? So guys, before we continue on to this, the particular things which we are discussing today, so does it really make sense? Will it be helpful while facing interview?
Of course, sir, it will.
Okay, and guys, why did I ask you this question? Because I know I have been part of interview panel for more than a decade now. So many people, they do not explain their roles and responsibility properly during their interview. So if you explain your roles and responsibility very clearly, that brings a lot of information from your side to like for interviewer, right? That way. So that is why we are discussing these sort of things in detail. Right, guys? Okay. So let us break this into like multiple modules. We will not define here like like what are the role of DevOps engineer here. So what we are going to do, we are going to define these tools into like individuals, like Git. So guys, based like as a Git administrator, what are going to be your roles and responsibility? First of all, user management, repo creation. Repo means repository creation, branch permission, and branch permission. Then after PR merging. Guys, what is PR here? Pull request we discussed last time as well, right? This is mentioned over here as well. What else?
Solving conflicts.
Defining Git. Defining Git branching strategies, right? What else?
Solving the conflicts.
Okay, solving conflicts. Yes, you are right. What else? Come on, guys.
Testing from the feature branch.
No, this is not part of DevOps. So basically, developers are going to create multiple branches. Now your QA engineers, like quality assurance engineers, are going to test the particular like different feature, different branches based on their environment. That is not basically job of DevOps engineer. I would not agree on that. Okay, what else, guys? Ensuring backup of Git. Git upgradation. Let us say if there are any security vulnerabilities, what you need to upgrade. So who is going to be responsible? Being Git administrator, you are going to be responsible for it. For example, if you are using GitHub, then GitHub team is going to be responsible. But what if you are using in-house Git? Like you have hosted maybe GitLab or maybe GitHub or maybe Bitbucket tool on your on-prem data center, then who is going to be responsible? It is going to be you who is going to be responsible to take backup of it. Ensuring ensuring high availability for Git, like for Git or maybe off Git, whatever you want, you can define it. HA means high availability. Like you are not going to store the entire organization source code onto one server. So first of all, you will have a master slave sort of concept for configuring Git. Then after, not only that, but on a very frequent basis, maybe like twice a day or once a day, like whatever is your company policy, you will need to ensure that the both machines are being backed up as well. For example, if your running machine gets crashed, maybe there are some like mishappening, the particular disk of that particular server where virtual machine is running, and that virtual machine you were using in order to run Git services, if that hardware crashes, what would happen, guys? You will not be in a situation to have that sort of thing, right? You will not be in position to have your source code available. So in that particular case, guys, you can retrieve your backup from other backup tools, right? Maybe you might have taken a snapshot, or maybe you might have created a snapshot of your VMware machine that way, right, guys? So being Git administrator, these are the particular things which we need to perform on day-to-day routine, right? Enabling one more thing which is really, really important, guys, enabling additional plugin. And moreover, like setting up, what do we set up? Setting up webhooks. The webhooks are the particular tool, guys. Let us say if someone has committed something here, this developer has committed something into Git. For example, maybe the developer has created a new branch, maybe the developer has deleted any previous branch, or maybe developer has raised any PR. So in that particular case, GitHub or maybe Git SCM, source code management tool, will notify Jenkins either to execute job either to send SMS or whatever sort of third-party tool you would like to be notified. So with the help of like webhook, we will be performing that sort of tool. Are we clear with that thing, guys? So guys, just for your information, I have sent these sort of writings in your chat box, right? Once again, okay, I will be sending this to all. By mistake, actually, this is sent to one user only, and this was supposed to be sent to all. Right? Are we clear with this thing, guys, or do we have any questions so far? Guys, do we have any questions so far? Amit, Anil, Ganesh,
Sir.
Gautam.
We are good.
Yes, sir.
Good, sir. Good, sir.
Okay, great. Because see, guys, it's not only that I'm speaking and you guys are listening. This has to be two-way communication, right? Great.
Yes, sir.
So I am going to remove it. Why to remove? We have a lot of space. So for example, now let's talk about Jenkins. So guys, when you are working on Jenkins, so what would be your roles and responsibility?
Creating pipeline.
First of all, set up Jenkins. Right, that is your first responsibility. Right. First of all, you will set up Jenkins. If it is already available, ensuring mastery based on requirement. Third thing, ensuring security updates now we will come to job section, guys, because if your Jenkins is not set up, master slave is not working, security patches are not updated, then it will be vulnerable, right? Ensure to run Jenkins on HTTPS. Guys, by default, your Jenkins runs on HTTP protocol, but we need to ensure that it should be running on HTTPS only. Right, guys? Then after creating and managing jobs. Now we will talk about jobs. Creating freestyle job. Then next, what is going to be? Creating pipelines. Right, guys? What else? And we can define even, guys, here like what other type of pipelines do we have?
Freestyle.
There are two. They are basically scripted and declarative. There are two type of pipelines. Either it is going to be scripted or it is going to be declarative. Moreover, writing Jenkins file. For example, if you do not want to write the particular code on Jenkins server itself, then you will write a particular file known as Jenkins file, right? And this file will be part of your source code management. Writing files in SCM, or you can define your Git. Like whatever repo you are going to work with, for example, you need to clone any repo. So Jenkins files will be pulled from that particular source code only, right? What other activity you guys perform on Jenkins? Integrating Jenkins with other tools such as Git, Jira, or ServiceNow, or Slack, or guys, do we know what is Slack?
Yes, sir,
Messenger
it's like communication teams.
Yes, like maybe like any sort of messenger, or we can define a messenger, right? So we can define here like messenger or any email services, right? What else do we do, guys, here? On Jenkins, what else do we do?
Installing plugins.
Yes, I was coming to that point only. Thank you. Managing / updating. So guys, these are the basically roles and responsibility of a particular DevOps. Sorry, these are the roles and responsibility of a particular Jenkins administrator, right, guys? Are you clear with that, guys? Like, what are the roles and responsibilities of a Jenkins administrator? Guys, for now, we are actually not discussing like how do we set up Jenkins, how do we integrate, how do we create master slave. No, we are not discussing this sort of thing right now. What we are discussing, like what are the roles and responsibility of a like Jenkins administrator. But later on, whenever we will be talking about the roles and responsibility of a person who is working as maybe your DevOps engineer, then couple of options we will pick out of this. For example, in that case, we will not be speaking all the points. If you are going to explain your roles and responsibility as a DevOps engineer, so you will be saying that managing Git, like creating user, repo, etc, like managing Jenkins, like deployment. And guys, the major thing we have skipped. Deployment, doing deployment. Collecting artifact, rollback in case of an issue, setting up automated monitoring, right? This was the main area, guys, and no one notified.
What about troubleshooting?
So, well, whenever we are writing any job, so at that moment, if there is any problem, so we have to troubleshoot that. So that will be part of creating pipeline. So until unless it is like way through, so that will not be considered as a like complete pipeline. So troubleshooting with Jenkins does not sound a really good stuff. But yes, for example, like if there is an activity, let us say we are trying to connect Jenkins with your what do I call? Yes, when we are trying to connect Jenkins with other tools. For example, we are trying to connect Jenkins with maybe your Slack tool or maybe any other tool. So in that case, definitely this can be considered like we have to troubleshoot in order to integrate one service to another. Maybe like we can say in this particular way that we have to troubleshoot if we are trying to connect Jenkins with GitHub or maybe any other services, then we have to troubleshoot as well. For example, like email service is not working. It is getting connected to Slack only. It is not sending SMS to like MS Teams or maybe any other like Telegram. That sort of tools are there, na? So like we can say that we have to troubleshoot if there is any issue. But basically troubleshooting with Jenkins does not sound really good, because there are no such issue found with Jenkins. Okay, now let us talk about what is next tool, guys, here. Ansible. So okay, so guys, basically what are the roles and responsibility of like Ansible administrator?
Setting up control nodes.
Yeah.
Okay, what next?
Writing a playbook.
Package management.
Okay, what else?
Package and user management.
Okay, let's define. What else?
Ansible tower.
So we cannot define that as part of roles and responsibility. Ansible Tower is just a tool which provides you a particular GUI facility. Rather than writing Ansible, we can define AWS in that particular case. AWS is a particular like GUI version of Ansible. Okay.
Encryption through Ansible Vault.
Basically, like that should not be a particular task. That should be like ensuring security.
Writing playbooks.
Yes, that can be.
Templates.
Playbooks, creating template. Okay.
Defining the roles.
Yes.
Configurations.
Defining roles. What else?
Creating custom rules.
So that,
Custom roles and tasks.
Like, but creating and defining like will be covered in the same thing, right?
Yeah.
What else?
Changing configuration files.
Changing / modifying. We can define anything, right?
Yes.
Changing / modifying config files based on requirement. Okay, what else, guys?
Constructing Ansible ad hoc commands.
Okay.
Writing, yeah, constructing Ansible ad hoc commands.
Writing ad hoc commands for Ansible. Okay, maybe you can write a different plugin as well.
Apart from this, managing infrastructure from Ansible Tower in the UI form.
Infra with
Ansible Tower.
Deployment.
Apart from this, setting up daily jobs.
Buddy, wait, please. Give me a moment. Doing deployment with Ansible. As soon as you will say doing deployment with Jenkins or with Ansible, then why do you use Jenkins? If you are doing deployment with Ansible, then what is use case of Jenkins? You are caught. You are stuck. So do not ever state this thing. If you are defining that you are using Ansible for doing deployment, never ever say that you are doing deployment with Ansible. What else you can say here is ensuring all endpoints are available, or maybe like you are checking all the endpoints with the help of Ansible script as well. Although in order to ensure that all the endpoints are available, all the endpoints are working properly, all APIs are working properly. So in that case, guys, we write Selenium. We need to have Selenium automation test case suite, and that is supposed to be fired from the side of Jenkins only, because that is a single flow which will ensure based on the outcome of that Selenium script is the job is successful or failure. We are never supposed to add this statement that yes, we are using Ansible for any sort of deployment activity. Yes, patching can be there, backup can be there. Backup of files / like maybe folders, maybe scripts, log rotation. That sort of activities you can for sure add, guys. But I would not recommend to add any sort of activities which is related to deployment to be explained with the help of Ansible. I hope you are getting my point. Why do I say so? If you say that we are using Ansible for deployment, then what is the use case of Jenkins? And guys, it is really possible. It is rarely possible that like half of the deployment you are doing with the help of Jenkins and half of the deployment you are doing with the help of Ansible. Guys, please correct me if you feel that anywhere, like you might have seen a sort of customer scenario where it is true. Like we are doing deployment with the help of Ansible as well as with the help of Jenkins, both, right? So guys, I hope that I make myself clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what next? So right now, guys, we are talking about VM, container, and host. So let us talk about containers only. So guys, being Docker administrator, or maybe being Docker, or maybe you can define container, whatever you like, whatever you feel comfortable with. Docker or container. So guys, what are your roles and responsibility there?
Docker installation.
Okay. Docker installation.
Managing Docker images.
Great.
Managing Docker file.
Wait. I'm so sorry. Managing Docker images / files. Okay.
Creating custom Docker images.
Okay. FILS files. Okay. What else?
Maintaining registry.
Maintaining Docker private / public. Okay, maintaining Docker private and public registry. So guys, I guess we are very clear with this, like what is private and what is public registry. Right, guys? So private registry means we have a particular Docker image available over internet, which can be used in order to create Docker private registry. Public means hub.docker.com. That is public registry of Docker container, right? What else? Managing Docker network.
Docker Swarm.
Okay. Let's not discuss about Docker Swarm right now. That will be later on. Then after managing
Volumes.
adding, yes, that is great. Adding, let's mount point to a container. Then after ensuring uptime and connectivity.
Like Docker health.
The container health, you can call that. Ensuring uptime and connectivity of containers. What else, guys?
Load balancing, scaling.
Now the point which someone was saying, I forgot the name of the person, that Docker Swarm. So balancing and scaling of containers with Docker Swarm, or maybe creating Docker. Okay, guys, there are two things. First of all, there is a particular thing known as Docker Swarm, and what is else?
Docker Compose.
Docker Compose in order to bring multiple containers like at the same time, right? What else, guys? monitoring and centralization of Docker logs.
Sir, what about Docker debug?
So Docker debug, like when we are talking about like monitoring and centralization of Docker logs, so it means that will be considered a part of Docker logs. Moreover, I have already ensured here, like there was a particular point which I mentioned, like monitoring sort of thing I have already mentioned here, like okay, yeah, this monitoring of Docker containers and centralization of Docker logs. These are the basically like tasks which we have to perform being Docker administrator or maybe container administrator, right, guys? So, guys, are we clear with this? Do we feel that we need to add anything else here? Obviously, when we are talking about like managing, so like it could be a particular question. For example, like someone is going to ask you, okay, can you tell me a particular way, like how would you compress a Docker image? How will you copy a particular Docker image from one server to another? If we are not using Docker registry, then how we can supply a Docker image from one place to another? Let us say if you have already a particular Docker file in place, how will you how will you load that to Docker registry? So that will be another thing. But right now we are talking about only roles and responsibility, right?
Yes, sir.
So these are the responsibility of a container administrator. It could be Docker container, it could be like Heroku or any sort of container. It may be the like Linux container, like Linux container you can talk about, right, guys? And guys, just for your information, I am just pasting all the particular things which whatever we are typing here in as per our discussion. We are like I'm just sending all the details to you guys in a chat box of this Zoom meeting, right, guys? I guess you guys are able to see that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's talk about MySQL.
Sir, if you are missing any points, please add those points as well from your.
See, I am just trying to add only those major points because see, whenever we will be discussing the individual points during practical, so we will be adding, like we will be discussing that. But right now, guys, we are not talking about like what is Git, how does it work with the back end of it, like each and everything. We are not discussing about it. We are discussing only the major part of roles and responsibility. Guys, how do people like why do people fail during interview? Because they do not understand the roles and responsibility very clearly. Okay, let me tell you, like it could be a particular possible scenario that someone is working in an organization maybe for 5 years or maybe for 8 or maybe for 10 years. The person is working on a different field, but right now the person is preparing for all the documents. Maybe documents are ready, maybe the particular person has prepared completely. But when it comes to defining roles and responsibility, the person is not aware of why it is so. Person has learned how to install MySQL, how to set up master slave architecture and everything. But the person is not well aware of the roles and responsibility of a DevOps engineer or maybe a particular AWS engineer. How does the person get tasked? Maybe these are based on Jira tool. Who raises the request? Maybe DevOps team, maybe DevOps team itself, maybe some developer, maybe some business team. So who is going to raise that request? These sort of things are supposed to be very, very clear to a particular engineer who is going to define their roles and responsibility. Are we clear with that, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is why, like when we say, like I do not teach, I just share my experience with you guys. So any questions so far, guys, if you have?
Sir, what about Ansible inventory file? Shall we add?
We can add, so like, see, this is just the major component. So let us say, now when you are talking about setting up controller, like establishing SSH connection, so there could be like separate question to you guys. Okay, like how do you manage your inventory file? Well, whatever you are saying, like that is just like overview of it, like whatever you do or day-to-day routine. Now there will be cross question section as well, dear. Whatever you are saying, the person is never going to trust you on that. Why it is so? That is why it is known as interview. The person would definitely ask you a lot of questions across that, right? So MySQL like installation. Of MySQL. Then after creating databases. Creating and backup of databases. Let us write points in a small manner.
User logins.
Then after user creation and access granting. User creation and granting access.
Query running.
Okay. Executing DB queries. Then after creating indexes. And setting up master slave. Then after identifying slow queries. So guys, please forgive me that if I write any wrong spelling, because like when we type like this, so it happens usually, right? So identifying slow queries. What else, guys? Identifying lag. Lag in replication between master and slave, and finding root cause and finding reason. So guys, not only like finding that if there is a lag, we will have to identify the particular reason as well, right? Is there anything else, guys? What we do, being DBA or being being DevOps? Providing prod / non-prod backup for analysis in lower environment. Post approvals. So we need to add this particular thing. Sometimes it happens that a developer say that my everything is working fine in development environment, but there is some like specific components which are not working in production environment. So I need to check with the schema, with the table content and everything which is available in production environment. So guys, we need to say that we do not provide data. We provide only like schemas of the database. Post approval, we can restore a database schema from production to SIT or maybe like development environment. But we are never supposed to share data of a real-time environment or production environment on SIT. Are we clear with that, guys?
Yes, sir.
So yes, these are the particular activity which we perform as MySQL administrator. So guys, right now what we are seeing here is we are talking about individual tools. But whenever we will talk about as DevOps, so obviously, like, do you really feel that, guys, a person is going to give you maybe half an hour or so in order to explain your roles and responsibility? So guys, if you feel here like it's been around an hour, we have been talking about only roles and responsibility only, right? So are you really going to get this much time during your interview, interview session? You will hardly get 3 to 4 minutes to explain. You will get hardly 3 to 4 minutes in order to explain your roles and responsibility. Now, guys, based on the particular JD, because whenever we go to face an interview, we get a job description, right? So based on which, like whatever is their requirement, first of all, read JD properly, and whatever your strengths are, based on both combination, we are going to add only those major points. For example, someone is looking for Git administrator, so we shall be focusing on this area majorly. If someone is looking for DB part majorly, we will be focusing on this. Right, guys? Same way, like we will be talking about Apache. So guys, Apache is a web server. And what are the roles and responsibility of Apache administrator, like installation? Shall we write or shall we discuss only?
So we will try.
Okay, not a problem. And guys, this is not the like end of it. You guys can add couple of things from your side as well. I would not have an issue with that. Apache, if we talk about, so the very first thing is going to be here installation for sure.
Hello.
Installation of Apache. Second thing, setting a virtual hosting.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Sir, actually, the problem is sir, that once they schedule an interview, they will hardly give 1 or 2 days. So how to prepare in such a short span of time? I mean, do you have any documents so that we can go through it from A to Z? Because just 1 or 2 days they give hardly. And then they say that depending on the profile, the Linux admin or cloud admin, you have to, so it is not possible to cover each and everything in the 1 or 2 days. So that is the main challenge.
Yes, I completely agree with you, dear. So let me tell you guys, we should not prepare for any job. We should prepare for the market. Like usually people ask me during these sort of sessions that are we going to get any sort of notes out of it? I usually say no. Why is that so, guys? Because you cannot study from my notes. Because my understanding here is I will write only 2 words and I can create a complete story out of it. Right? So whenever you are going to like let us say right now we are studying, we are like deep diving like on individual topics. But whenever you are going to face any sort of interview, just make a notes like what are the particular tools and technology where you feel comfortable with. Major topics should be starting from your JD point of view, like sequence should be changing always. First of all, let us say you are going to work as like Git administrator. You shall not be explaining MySQL additionally. But yes, if you're going to work as DevOps, in that case, what you will say? So DevOps role begins with Git. So you will be telling like Git administrator, Jenkins creation management, like writing Ansible playbook. And when you are going to say like writing Ansible playbook, modifying, and obviously like executing it. So a person would have very clear understanding that if you are able to write Ansible playbook, you know how to install. This works based on SSH authentication. You are able to do that. Like you will be able to escalate the privileges. Everything the person will have very clear understanding. Now there will be cross question that if we have to install RPM package in a remote server, then what sort of basic prerequisites you will need to have. So you will say that the user what is being used to authenticate or to log into remote server, person should have sudo access, right? Getting point?
Yes, sir.
So that like that way. So whenever you guys are preparing for your interview, do not prepare for a job or for any individual organization. Prepare for the market, because whenever we prepare for any individual job, guys, so that puts some additional pressure on us. And we are never supposed to study under pressure. Do not start studying after getting JD from any HR. Start studying before it, that if there is any sort of JD, you are ready for that. Am I clear, buddy, on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
there should be no notes, sir.
Yes, but so many times I get a call from my students that, sir, I have got the final JD. Now I need to prepare for it. I usually ask, what have you been doing since then? You got a JD yesterday. What have you been doing within the last 1 month when you know you have to look for a job?
True.
Do not prepare for a JD or for a job. Prepare for market. Okay, let us say in a hypothetical manner, let us say you got a particular JD from Google. if you are ready for the market, so Google is just one an organization which is working in market. Maybe a brand name could be there, maybe anything could be there. Even people like you and me are working there, right? But just because the call is from Google, people start paying a lot of extra attention to that. They go under pressure of the brand name and everything. That is why most of people do not clear the interview of Google. Why it is so? Because it is Google, it is Facebook, it is Amazon, it is Apple, it is Microsoft. Getting point? So be whatever the company name is, I never take attention for that. I just think of that I have to prove myself, I have to learn for the market, not for any individual organization. And just to let you know, guys, I have got offers from like topmost MNCs, like 3 MNC, which are out of like top 10. I have already got an offer letter, but I did not join because I do not want to go out of my place. That's it. Okay, leave that part. So guys, I'm not joking at all. I know this thing that finding out a job is really easy if you prepare for the market, not for a single organization or for a single like JD, right? Okay, setting a virtual hosting, writing redirection rule, what else?
Configuration, SSL.
Configuring SSL, what else?
Compiling the source code for the application.
Let us not write that. That will not be a good idea. Why it is so? If you are going to write that as part of your compiling, because that is only one-time activity. When we have written here like installation of Apache, that could be based like that could be from the like tarwall, that could be from like any like RPM or maybe from any .dev file. So when we're talking installation, so we are always going to say that we install RPM with like we install Apache with the help of RPM only. We do not compile it. Because while compiling, a person might ask, okay, can you tell me the like step by step, like how do you compile it? What is the difference between make and make init? Right?
Understood.
Yeah. So we do not need to leave any sort of statement which is open, where a person may ask a lot of questions, right? So like Apache installation, setup, virtual hosting, like writing redirection rules, configuration, SSL, like customizing listeners, right? Customization of listeners, like rather than running Apache on port 80, you would like to run Apache on maybe port 80 or like somewhere else, that sort of. These are tasks of Apache. Obviously, doing deployment, right? Taking backup, analyzing logs, finding RCA for any running issue, right, guys? After that, what else you can define here? Troubleshooting of real-time issues based on HTTP response code, right? Guys, so these are going to be the task of Apache administrator. And one more thing I would like to say, share here, HTTP response code. Okay. Guys, please go through this once. This URL I'm going to share, and guys, it will be really helpful if any one of you can share that within WhatsApp group as well, because this chat will no longer exist once we like terminate this meeting, right? Okay, You, any one of you. So who will do it? Let's decide it right away. Otherwise, everyone will be posting, and that will be matched.
So I will do. Gautam, I will do.
Gautam. So Gautam, this is your responsibility, right?
Yes, I will do, sir.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Gautam. Okay. Fine. So guys, what we are going to do here is, what is next agenda? Like we have Prometheus, like Splunk, EKS, and Terraform. So guys, these are the particular topics which are still remaining. We are going to discuss it tomorrow. So guys, okay, let me ask you a thing which I usually ask. So guys, any feedback for the session, or do you have any suggestion to give? Anything which you would like to add, which you would like me to add to this particular session, or this is what you were looking for?
Well, to me, it looks good. I also want you to cover, some interview-related questions. I think you will be covering in the next sessions.
So okay, yeah. So guys, this is very first interview question. Okay, tell me about yourself and your roles and responsibilities. That is the first interview question.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I said. For example, you were just explaining about Apache. So in future session, are you gonna explain like what sort of questions will be asked from Apache?
Yes,
like most of the
definitely.
Yeah,
I'll be explaining that.
Yeah, I think for since I'm experienced, I myself took interviews and giving a lot of interviews. So I think just as an introductory part, it is a great session.
Okay, thank you. Any other one would have any sort of suggestion, any sort of feedback for the session? I would like to hear, guys.
No doubt, session was pretty good. The only thing is that I am not doing anything of that sort because I am mainly into maintenance support. So my project is totally different. It is on the nuance chat. So how will I merge all these things which you explained today with my current project? Or should I do that or not? Should I be that much honest that whatever I am doing, I should tell them that only? Because if I do all these things, they might ask me anything. They can ask me in the interview. So which I will.
Right. Absolutely right, you are. In fact, the particular thing which you have in mind, so definitely we should discuss that part as well. So first of all, that will be depending that how sure you are that definitely you are planning to change your job. So let us say if you are 100% sure of it, that definitely you are planning to change your job. So how it is going to be helpful? Guys, keep this thing in mind. First of all, the particular profile which you are looking for, either it is a Linux administrator. So not only writing things on the top of resume will help, but you will need to learn these topics as well. For example, when you start learning anything and you do not have a very clear picture in your mind that, okay, what are the topics you need to learn? There are a lot. There is a hell lot of content available even on internet available, right? If you have a very clear picture in mind that these are the particular major areas where I need to focus on, then you will save a lot of your time, moreover, a lot of your effort. Moreover, based on the particular major requirement in market, you will be able to prepare yourself within like very less span of time. If you are planning to change your job, maybe from like whatever you are doing right now into DevOps, Linux or AWS, then definitely this is going to help. This is going to be a lot of help.
So that means
yes,
so that means, sir, I mean, whatever I'm doing, on top of that, I need to sync it with whatever you told here.
Right. For example, you are into NOC team, right? For example, I don't know like what is your profile?
I'm into maintenance support.
Maintenance support,
and on top of it,
taking backup, restoration, and everything, right?
No, on top of the main challenge is that it is a third-party vendor. We don't have any control on the infrastructure also. The only thing is we have to follow with the vendor. So the learning is not there. Just max it is like fetching the hard log and console logs.
Okay, so buddy, I'm just stopping recording.